with a real internet connection this time.
Yeah.
And a bit of a different background.
I don't think we'll have a lot of internet problems this time.
No.
Hopefully not.
Internet in Sweden is fantastic.
Can everybody hear us and see us? A little like thumbs up or
whatever.
Or like a smiley face.
I think that if people couldn't see us or hear us, we would hear about it. Maybe. Anyways, hello everyone. It is so good to see you. For those of you who are new here, first off, welcome. We normally sail, and a few months ago, as with everybody else, our plans get completely turned upside down by a certain pandemic. And sometimes in April, early May, we decided that the best course of action for us was to repatriate, at least temporarily, for hurricane season. And this turned into a huge side adventure that we absolutely had not planned for, which took a lot of time and energy and took so many turns and twists. But eventually we made it back here in Sweden, which, funnily enough, and I guess we'll talk about it later today as well, is, we spent 2 months completely locked down on the boat in St. Martin, and Sweden is at the exact other end of the spectrum in terms of the lockdown. So
yeah, that's exactly it.
So it's been very interesting and different, and there's definitely be an adjustment. But yeah. How are you, Ryan? How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel good. We've been back for 2 weeks now, and I finally feel a bit rested after the craziness of getting back. So that was good. So yeah, it's a different feeling. It's kind of nice to have some normalcy and not like it doesn't take 2 hours to go get eggs at the grocery store. It can take 10 minutes. That's kind of nice. So yeah, how about you?
I feel better than I did 2 weeks ago, because we actually get back 2 weeks ago exactly now, like to date. And I certainly feel better than I did 4 weeks ago when we were in the middle of the pit. But I've definitely had some up and downs, especially since we get back. It was so special to come back to a very open society when for the last 2.5 months, we've really been told that it's dangerous to be out and it's really dangerous to see people. And here, I mean, everybody's out. So
yeah.
So there's been that, and it's been difficult to land back in land life, you know?
How's it for you? I don't think it's been so difficult for me, but I think it was tiring because we had a really tiring trip back here.
Yes.
So when we got back, we were just exhausted.
Yes.
Maybe I look exhausted, but that's just because I've been laying in the sun.
Oh, there are a lot of people who said hi. Oh, yeah, we have redecorated Polar Seal. How do you like the decoration in in our new background?
So maybe it's worth a talk about, well, how did we even get back? So,
yes, because
as many people know, in St. Martin for the whole lockdown, and really our options were limited, but like opening up. We knew that the world was going to open up. We had heard rumors of this and that and another thing, but the reality of it was, as I said on I think our last live, we had three conditions. We had to find a place for Polar Seal, and originally we weren't going to leave Polar Seal for the hurricane season. We were going to stay on it, but we decided that since travel's so difficult right now, that it was just better for us to leave the boat and come back and wait until things open up for good and are more stable. So we needed to find a place to leave Polar Seal. We needed to find a place that would take us, like with their borders open.
Yeah.
So we need to find yard space, place where the country was open, and a place where we could get back here, so that had flights. And the US was out because of Sophie's visa situation. So we came up with a million different plans. Some of them included us sailing our boat to Grenada, getting on another boat, sailing that boat all the way back to Sweden. That was one of the more extreme ones that we seriously considered. So having Sophie fly back, having me take the boat to Puerto Rico, and leave it there. But in the end, we came up with two pretty solid options. One was to go to Aruba, where the borders were still closed, but we could 14-day quarantine on the boat, and then potentially fly out, but they didn't have any flights out. So that was kind of, at the time, it was a little, we weren't sure.
They have a shuttle that could take us to Curaçao, but it was really complicated and expensive, and we had a lot of baggage, and it was very complicated.
Yeah. So the other option was to go to Curaçao next year, a little bit further east. And we do the same thing, except Curaçao had a requirement that we had to quarantine for 14 days in a hotel that we had to pay for,
which was very expensive. Like, we're talking $4,000 to $5,000.
Yeah.
And that was, we cannot afford that.
So originally, that was the requirement. If we went there, we had to quarantine in the hotel for 14 days. Then we got the pleasure of paying for a flight to leave, and they weren't going to let us stay. But they changed their tune a little bit due to the yard there. They were great and very instrumental in trying to like open things up. And they did eventually allow us to come, work on the boat for a day, and then either leave that day or the next day. We'd still have to pay for one night in the quarantine prison hotel. But we decided that was our best option, partly because we don't know what we're going to do next year, and we wanted to be as furthest east as we could be. So
that's what we did. We took the Curaçao plan. By the way, there are people from Stockholm here. Hello! It's midsummer in Sweden, which is a huge celebration here. So celebration is what you say. And today is National Hangover Day in Sweden, because last night people partied really hard. So I'm really pleased to see people from here. That's awesome. But yeah, continuing on the story.
Yeah, so that was our plan. So we only had a day to prepare our boat.
Let's back the band a little bit, because when we realized that this was our option, we were 2 weeks away, meaning that half of the boat needed to be decommissioned before we sailed. We had to time the sail so that we would arrive the day of our flight at 6 a.m. So not only time it to arrive at a certain date, but also at a certain time during the day, which is a huge no-no for any respectable sailor out there. You don't do that. The weather is too unpredictable, or
just hard.
You can't control the weather. So 2 weeks before departure, we booked tickets, which was also a critical piece. It was the longest it ever took us to book plane tickets. We had to call KLM multiple times to get the flights right. Then we spent an entire week in Saint Martin, where we were, decommissioning half of Port Lucille, packing everything, getting rid of the food that we couldn't keep on board, cleaning everything. And then we had a certain day and a certain time that we were going to leave Saint Martin, which we did. Mm-hmm. And we got extremely lucky with the weather.
Yeah, everything worked out fairly well. So we left, and we needed to arrive at 6, and we didn't need to. We had to arrive between 6 and noon, but the reason we wanted to arrive at 6 is so we had the full day, as much time as possible to decommission the boat, which is a big project, as most of you know, especially since we don't know how long we'll be away from the boat for. So we managed to do all that. The only thing that, it was a good sail, it was a great sail, it was pretty much...
We had a great sail.
Yeah, the only thing that happened that was a bit unfortunate was we'd done all this cleaning down below, and it was very hot on the way down, and we left one of the top hatches open to get some air in, and a freak wave broke over the top, and we got some salt water all over our bedding.
Had a wave getting straight onto the city where we sleep.
Yeah.
So it got all over the blankets, all over the mattress, all over the pillows. It was a mess.
Yeah. So luckily, it's usually where we keep all our computers, and luckily we had moved them all, so nothing got damaged. But that was a bit of that one sucked a little bit, but other than that, it was. And so yeah, we arrived, and well, I guess we should mention a few days before we left St. Martin, we found out our flight had been canceled, which they've been doing.
That's right.
And
yes.
But luckily they had moved it to the next day, so we knew it actually worked out better because we got the full day, 6 to 6.
Yeah, then we had to be at the quarantine facility for a night.
Yeah.
And it was pretty expensive, and also we had no idea where that was going to be, or.
But we were going to have to stay in a hotel anyways in Amsterdam because of how the flights were. So we were going to have to do a hotel night anyways, and with this flight cancellation, we weren't going to have to do that in Amsterdam. So it worked out. It was fine. Yes. It actually probably worked out better. But
anyways, another thing that happened is that normally, so crossing the Caribbean from St. Martin to Curaçao is a 3.5-4 days passage, and it's a big deal. You know, when you're at sea for more than 24 hours, it's preparation. And this time it was so hard to even get to the point where we could sail out. The sail itself was like, we get that. But we shorthanded the sail for 4 days. Under pretty stressful circumstances. I mean, you know, everything was so timed, and the boat needed to be decommissioned. It still felt a little heavy. And when we arrived at 6 a.m. in Curaçao, and we were escorted by the Coast Guards to enter Curaçao, and we had to call them beforehand to make sure that we were not going to be refused entry and so on, we were destroyed.
Yeah, we were pretty
You and I were just destroyed because a 4 days passage short-handed will do that to you. It's really tiring. It's taxing on the body. But at this point, we had a full day of work to completely clean up Pole Seal, take the sails off, take all the canvas out, pack up our stuff, clean, empty, pick all the water maker.
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff. So we had all the work before we left. We had a 4-day sail, and then we had a full hard day of work in pretty hot temperatures.
It was really hot.
A night in a quarantine hotel, and then a transatlantic 2-day flight back.
Okay, but let's back a little bit because you're going fast.
Okay, I don't know what I'm missing, but sure.
Okay, let's talk about how we were escorted by the Coast Guard to this extremely tiny pontoon, where we were allowed to stay until this shuttle would come to pick us. And at no point until we arrived at the hotel did we know where we were going.
No, that's true. We had, even when we were in the shuttle van, we had no clue.
We were
just driving us somewhere. We didn't know where we were going.
We're in a bus in a foreign country with people that we don't know who are taking us to a place that we don't know. We have no idea where we're going, how much that's going to cost us. We have all our stuff in 4 bags at the back of the truck. It was...
So we arrived, and it was like half the parking lot of this hotel was like cordoned off with crime scene tape. And then they like drove the van through the crime scene tape. And then there was like a gate, like a back gate of the hotel that opened. And like we kind of like snuck in there. And then we were met by people. And then they gave us keys, and we still didn't know how much the room was.
We had to ask 5 times, all right, how much are we going to pay for this?
And then they thought we were staying for 14 days, and we're like, no, we're staying for 1 day. So it was a bit, it all worked out in the end, but it was just a little wonky.
It was a little awkward. And then we were allowed to walk out of the room, and it was so interesting the way that they really had parked us. Like, they had completely enclosed this part of the hotel.
Yeah, with big fences and
with
security guards.
And security and people watching over us. And we were like, oh my God.
So yeah, we did our night. We did our 1 night in jail for crimes that we did not commit. And then
it was a pretty fancy jail though. It was an okay hotel.
Yeah. And the food was okay. We even got pizza. I got pizza.
We get food.
Anyways, so yeah, then we flew back, and that, I think the most surprising thing about flying back was how empty all the airports were.
I mean, even the flights.
The Stockholm flight was pretty full.
The flight from Curaçao to Amsterdam, it was 3 rows, like 3 seats rows airplane.
3-4-3. Yeah.
And all the middle seats were empty. They were not serving hot meals. There was no service.
Well, they served hot meals. They just kind of chucked a tray in front of you. You didn't really get a choice. They just kind of like threw some slop at you.
And we had this little bag of snacks that we
but that was kind of nice though, like because you had this. They gave you like a bag right away. I'm serious. That was kind of nice. There's like a bag. It was like 3 things of water and like an apple and a bunch of snacks, and you could just like eat as you wanted.
No alcohol. They did not serve either beer or wine or anything. No alcohol.
With a little bag of snacks, like I would be okay with that continuing.
It was okay.
Post-COVID. Yeah. Because on a 9-hour flight, you just get to pick, like you want to eat a little granola bar. It's just in the bag.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I agree with that.
And a little bottle of water. I don't know. I think it's kind of nice.
Okay, so then we arrived in Amsterdam, in Schiphol Airport, and that was ghost town. It was ghost really town. Empty. It was super creepy. Like most of the people on our flights, and I would say 95% of our flights, exited the airport in Amsterdam, and we were one of the very, very few to transfer. The transfer terminal was dead.
Yeah. They actually had some of the terminals closed.
Yeah.
As was Stockholm. I mean, there's a couple of the terminals were closed too. So yeah, like, and then when we arrived, the Stockholm flight was pretty full.
The Stockholm flight was
but they only do 1 a day. That's the.
And I had a minor freak out because it's the most people that I had seen in 3 months. And we had been so ingrained with the fact that it's really, really bad to be around people. And I guess that it's still the case, it's not considered safe or good for you or for other people to be so close together. And I see all these people coming in, and the rows are full. I'm like, oh my God, what is this? You have your mask on, I'm like, oh, I don't want to die.
So we got back and, we got out of the airport and we had a friend pick us up. And usually the drop off for the departures in Stockholm is full of taxis and like any major airport. And we walked out and he was the only car sitting in the whole drop off area. So we were just like, oh yeah,
this is for us.
Okay. So then we had to move into our lovely place that we're sitting in, and some of your friends were gracious enough to let us stay here for a while.
Yes.
And it's quite nice. So that took a few days of adjusting. So it took us a couple of weeks when we got back, and then to kind of get into the flow and get because that was like a full week to get from St. Martin to here, and that was very tiring. And then we kind of just jumped right into like land activities without a major break.
Actually, I thought that when we arrived, I would absolutely crash. I would be so we were exhausted, and emotionally, it's probably one of the hardest things that I've had to do.
Yeah.
We had been so stressed for 2 months with the hurricane situation, and the on the boat was really not fun. I really thought that I would crash, but I could not sit down. I had to do something all the time. I woke up in the morning and I had to do something. And do something else. So the next day when we arrived, we woke up at 7, and at 8 we were already on the road trying to.
We're at IKEA. As Swedes do, we went to IKEA. Seriously, the first day it was packed with people.
It was not packed with people.
It was pretty full, and then there was a queue to get in.
How often do you go to IKEA? Right?
Sophie, there was a queue to get into IKEA. There was a line outside when we left.
Yeah, but that's because they don't let.
There was a lot of people at IKEA. We were there first day. We did not eat the meatballs because the restaurant's closed.
Yes.
And they're not made of meat now anyways.
Okay, but the reason why there was a queue outside of IKEA is because they only let a certain amount of people in the store at the same time.
Okay, enough bickering.
Did someone say that?
No.
I would imagine that Jules would say something like that.
No, he asked where our grog is.
But yeah, and so we just kept on going, and I had a really hard time sleeping the first week.
Yeah.
I really thought that I would get my sleep back, but I did not. And I think that after a week of being here, it started to sink that, it's behind us and we're good. And we're sort of safe. Socially distancing in Sweden is surprisingly very easy.
There's a joke that says Swedes will be happy when COVID is over because they can go from their 2-meter social distancing, which they're being mandated to do, back to 5-meter social distancing.
It's funny. And especially now that the weather is beautiful, people are out in the nature. So there is nobody.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was in Stockholm. I was cruising my scooter. I bought myself an electric scooter to go around Stockholm, and the city was empty.
But I think like, so we got back and we got into place, but like boat life didn't leave us. Sophie's still editing videos. I know a lot of people have asked, they're missing videos, but I know you're still doing it.
The funny thing is that since we've got back, I've been editing every day. And I'm editing this video, which is the story, the crazy story of this trip that we did from St. Martin all the way to Stockholm, and all the crazy things that happened on the way. So pretty much everything that we've been telling you. And it was going to go out yesterday, but I'm not done with it. So, and I don't think it's going to go out tomorrow because I don't. So I'm editing and I'm making videos and have so much material. I know one of you asked about the Torquedo video. And we've shot that video. I just need to edit it. So there will be videos coming. I'm definitely editing them.
So you're still editing, and I'm still fixing stuff. So
yes.
We got here and our landlord's washing machine was leaking, and I immediately went into
project mode.
Yeah, never fixed a washing machine. I ripped the entire thing apart.
You did great though.
And now it works good.
It worked well.
Tomorrow I'm getting a new microwave. Sophie said the microwave is broken, and I plugged it in to see, and I was like, "No, it works fine." And I hit start, and like sparks are shooting out, and
the microwave is broken.
The microwave's broken. Anyways, so yeah, we're also both trying to work a little bit and save some cash. Obviously, being back in Sweden was not a planned expense.
No.
So it's a little more expensive for us.
It is way more expensive for us to be on land than to be on the boat.
Yeah. So we're working a little bit too, so that's why things are a little slow. But good things happening. So maybe answer a few questions and we can talk about what we're going to do next season. I didn't see a lot, but yeah, you're right. So Sophie's right. Like we do have a Torquedo video filmed. We filmed that in lockdown, and yes, we've been talking about it a long time, but hopefully we'll get that edited. And I think we're also going to do. So tomorrow we're going to start a live series.
Let's talk about things that we've been talking about for a long time, but never really materialized because of various reasons. One of them being that we didn't have proper internet.
Yeah, that's right. We did not.
But Ryan has been wanting to do live tech talks about specific topics so that we can share knowledge and we can ask questions and have a discussion about those topics. And it starts tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to talk about choosing a cruising boat and its equipment. And I think you wanted to talk a little bit about our own experience and our lack thereof when we pulled the seal.
Probably the process that we went through and what I think that we did wrong and what I think we did right.
Yes.
And my suggestions if you're going to go down that path.
Yes.
But just based on my own experience, not that I'm an expert or anything.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the first one of, I think we have a few of them planned.
Yes, I think that we're going to go live every Sunday is the plan.
Yeah, we're going to try it and see how it works. So hopefully people who are interested can join, and then we'll have a nice record, video record of it.
So someone asked if we were going to do a live tech talk about Watermaker, and
yes,
definitely.
That is, I think, the second one we're going to do.
Yeah, 100%. And then about electricity, solar
batteries,
panels, and lithium batteries. That's also planned. You sent me a bunch of topics that you wanted to talk about. The only one that I vetoed live was the one about the dinghy.
Maybe.
Because I think that we can just make a really good video about the dinghy. And do people have a lot of questions about dinghy? If you do, I mean, let us know if you want to have a live talk about dinghies and outboard. Can definitely talk about that. What else?
Well, I guess that's what's coming.
Somebody asked us what we were going to do this summer. And
well, we kind of said that we would take 2 months and not think about the boat, which we haven't done.
No,
we that's our plan. And so not until August we want to really start thinking about what's next.
But we've been starting to think about.
We've been thinking about it a bit, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, so I just enjoy. It's actually been a really Swedish summer can be very like
rainy,
hit or miss. It could just rain all summer and be cold, or it can be like super warm. And I mean, it's usually summer's like July for a week, but it's like all throughout June since we got back. It's been beautiful, and tomorrow it's supposed to be 30 degrees for the Americans. It's like 90, and
that never happens here.
That doesn't, well, especially in June, and it's like for a week. Right. So we've just had a little rain and a lot of sun. So we have a little terrace out here. I bought a hammock, and we actually have a swimming pool. So it could be a worse life.
Yes. Another thing that we've been talking about is so we're definitely going to go back on the water. We have a lot of friends who have boats in Sweden. So we're going to try to get on boats in Sweden, other OPB, other people's boats, best type of boat.
Yeah, so I don't have to worry about things, and they can take care of it. And we can just have fun. I mean, we have fun.
Although somebody offered to let us use their boat without them on board, and that's stressful.
Yes.
That's like,
I think I'd rather just have somebody else skipper, and I'll just do what they say.
When you're on your own boat, it's stressful because you're responsible for your own boat. But when it's somebody else's boat and he's not on board, it's like really, it's more stressful, I think. So we're going to try to do that. Another thing is that we have kayaks. And we've been talking about maybe doing a little weekend of kayaking in Stockholm's archipelago. We'll see how far we go with that, because it's a little bit of logistics, a little bit of equipment that we don't have here because we only came with 4 bags. But yeah, and we're going to work because we need to make a little bit of money.
Somebody asked if you're going to work on your cookbook.
Yes.
I don't know when you're going to have time for that, but it is a good idea.
I know. I don't know where my time goes. It feels like I'm working every day. So I have this very cute little office 10 minutes from the apartment where I work with a bunch of friends, and it's mostly like an extension of our living room, but we work there. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And I go there every day. I'm there at 8:30, and I go home pretty late. And I don't know where my time goes, but I've made a list of all the projects that I want to do this summer, and the cookbook is very high on that list of things that I want to do.
Stand by for cookbook.
Yes. But first, I really want to edit the videos of our adventure.
Yes.
Was there any other thing that you saw?
No, people are not asking lots of questions today. That's okay. Maybe they're all hungover from midsummer.
That's all right.
They just
that's all right.
Listen to us. So, but we did say that we have thought a little bit about next year, and so maybe we can get into that a little. We have a few ideas for next year, so we can go through some of those.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons we went to Curaçao is to kind of keep options open, and I know maybe a few of you are thinking, why didn't you go to Grenada? That's south. And we could have. Grenada opened up right at the time that we were going to Curaçao, but there are still no flights out of Grenada to get back to Europe.
Yes.
And if you can do it, we know people that have chartered flights to get to like Martinique to fly back, but they were charging
like
$1,000 a seat,
person, which is
just for the charter flight just to get to Martinique, and then you have
another $1,000. Another boat coin.
Yeah, another boat coin. A boat coin is $1,000. We elected not to do it. So Curaçao is like kind of some options there. So our first option, or first thought really, was to sail up north, go to Puerto Rico, the BVIs, the USVIs, eventually getting into the Bahamas, and then up the US coast to Chesapeake, Annapolis area, which is what we had originally wanted to do this year.
That's what we were going to do before COVID.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like one option.
Yes.
And then from there, there's lots of possibilities too. We go back to the Caribbean. We could hang out in the U.S. and sail for the summer, winter over there, and then the next summer take the northern route back to Europe, going through Canada, Greenland, Iceland, and Ireland, which would be kind of cool.
That'd be really fun. I would like that.
So that's something we're considering. Another option is for us to go up to Puerto Rico on a really big tack, and then down to Grenada to meet up with some friends and sail kind of the southern part of the Caribbean, and then again shoot back up to the BVI.
Yes.
In the Bahamas.
Jules and Tenny are reminding us that we owe them a trip to New York
Yeah.
I'm into that. I'm still into that idea. I would love to sail to New York. We have friends, incidentally, sailing on a boat named Sophie, who just arrived in New York today.
That's right. Yeah.
If you look Sophie sailing or sailing yacht Sophie, they have nice photos of New York on Facebook
Nice
or on
boat.
Instagram. Nice boat.
So the last option, which we kind of kicked around for a while, then we decided not to
And we
think
really
about
go
it.
back and forth with that idea.
So the last option we're considering is to make the jump and go into the Pacific.
Go big.
For the year, partly because we're kind of close. It's still about an 800-mile sail to Panama, but I don't know, maybe it's the time to do that. And it gives us a little more time too. If we want to go back up into the Caribbean, we really need to be back on the boat and ready to go early mid-November to catch the change of winds so we can get westward or eastwards a little bit. And if we miss that, then we're fighting the trade winds to get back out to the
You don't want to be fighting the trade winds.
No.
It's so pointless.
So if we go to the Pacific, it gives us a few more months of COVID still doing its thing to get to Panama and wait till the end of typhoon season and get in the Pacific. So we don't know.
At this point, it's very difficult to make a plan because I'm sure that it's the same for you. You know, like we have no idea how the next 2 or 3 months will look like anywhere. As of now, different countries in the world are in completely different context situations. So I think that by September or October, we'll have much more visibility as to what we can do. And the idea is that if COVID-19 continues to run and be very dangerous, and borders are still closed and you have to quarantine everywhere you go, we're going to put a pause on cruising for a year.
Yeah, I think so.
Which would be very, very sad. But after what we experienced between March and May, I don't want to be cruising in a world that is having issues with a pandemic.
It's a bit silly because most of the places we're going to go to right now are really under
a lot of stress.
But they're under, like what I was trying to say is they don't have the facilities to deal with issues like this. So why go into that situation? So, and it just creates all kinds of extra stuff to deal with. So there's a question on here about how long polar seal can stay on the hard. I think we did an okay job getting her ready.
She's hibernating.
I think she could sit there for a while.
For a year.
Yeah.
A couple of years maybe. We don't want her to sit that long.
No,
because
in the sun. I think we decided that if she was going to sit for a year, we would probably get a sunshade made for it, just because the sun's really intense.
And she needs to be protected. She needs her sunscreen.
Yeah,
girl.
Yeah. So that's what we're thinking.
Yes.
We don't know. We've also talked about catamarans, but we don't have the cash.
We have also talked a lot about catamarans, but us spending a few months in Sweden is not going to improve the financial situation that would help us reach that goal.
Somebody said that your cookbook could be called "How to Make a Food Baby."
Yes.
I think that's what it was.
Yes.
How to make a food baby.
That would be absolutely.
Sophie's visa. How long is your visa situation going to take to resolve?
Oh my! It really depends on the agent that I will be talking to next. It is 100% up to that agent to decide if they're okay with me going to the States or if they are not. And if the agent decides that I can't, well, then it's going to take a lot of time. Probably another year, I would imagine. We've received a lot of emails and messages telling me that I don't need a visa to get to the US, which is true. Most Western countries, European countries, I can get something that's called an ESTA, which is a visa waiver. But that waiver was revoked when I was denied my visa the first time. So I cannot have a visa waiver anymore. So
So we do actually need a visa.
So we do need a visa. But the good thing with this COVID thing, actually, it's one of the only good things, is that now I get to put a little more time between my 2 applications, which increases my chances, to start fresh with US immigration. So hopefully next time it's better. Also, I can apply here in Stockholm at the US Embassy in Sweden, which only costs me a train ticket, and I don't have to fly anywhere to apply. So that's very nice.
Yep. So question, there's another question I want to get to, but I want to answer this one first. Do we have someone taking care of polar seal on the hard, like airing it out and stuff? The yard is, and the people at the yard have been really good. I feel actually really bad for the guys running the yard, because they told us when we arrived that they had 200 and plus almost 300
boats
booked in for the season, but because the government hasn't opened up the borders yet, the sailors are reluctant to go there and do this whole process like we did. So they've had 8 boats arrive,
and we were one of them.
So you imagine, you own the yard business there. That's quite a. But they were really happy that we came for obvious reasons. So, and they've just been great. So they're kind of our watchers, if you will. So here's a question, Sophie. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much? So I'm going to ask this question, and Sophie and I have drastically different answers for this. So. But it's okay. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much did COVID ruin your recent season? Were you still able to enjoy it?
On a scale from 1 to 10, how much it ruined it? Okay. So
like 10 being it was ruined completely.
Okay. I would start by saying that something being ruined, this season being ruined is a state of mind and an attitude. And I could argue that before COVID happened, we had an amazing season. Everything was going so great for us. We just crossed the Atlantic. We were meeting friends. We had so much fun in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
And then you had this exciting professional opportunity. We get back to Sweden. We saw our friends. It was awesome. And then COVID happened. I don't know. From 1 to 10, an 8.
You really had a hard time while we were locked down.
Yeah.
I mean, you did.
It did really. Essentially, from March, we didn't have a season anymore. We did the same thing that everybody did, which was to stay at home, except that our home turned out to be very small and very hot, and in a place that was not very pretty and not very friendly. I mean, authorities were not very friendly. The people were friendly, but we were not really in contact with them. So it was a 3 very difficult and stressful months. And from March, we just didn't have a season. And then all of our plans were turned completely upside down. The plan was absolutely not to come back to Sweden this summer.
Yeah. I think for me, I was like, I'd say maybe a 4 or 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I agree with the fact that like our sailing plans are turned upside down. It'd be great to be in the US right now and like seeing
Cuddle Holly.
Yeah, you can see my parents' dog and see the family and tour around and see friends. So from that perspective, it really sucked. But it was such a unique and interesting experience and I mean, I just took it a lot differently than you. I was out all the time, like out. But I did a lot of the grocery storing, and I did more boat projects, which you'll see in upcoming videos, in those like first 2 months than I would have done in an entire year.
Mm-hmm.
So I was super busy with things and just kept really, really busy. And, like the lagoon that we were in wasn't very pretty, but the community that developed of those boats that were in that lagoon was like, it was something so special. And I mean, I can't speak for you, but I don't know if you realized it right away. I felt it right away. And I like tried to embrace that because it was just something special. Like we could have been in that lagoon with a bunch of like a-holes, and it wasn't that way. Like everyone, for the most part, it was just like this weird community that like turned up, and everyone was really supportive, and it was fun. And that's going to be an experience that like I think will go with us for a long time, even though it wasn't what we were expecting. And there were days that were really hard. It was really hard on us and our relationship, especially at the end, because it was the two of us, like, in the size of this room.
I think we should talk about this. I think that, you know, in the coming years, when we're going to think back to this situation, and I think it's for everyone, not only for us living on boats, but for everyone who's been confined with their partner and their family, it creates a lot of tension. And I think it's natural. It was really hard.
It was hard on us, yeah.
It was really hard.
But it was like, there was like unique things that came out of it, like just how people would like interact and how we like got supplies and like the social scene that developed, because we did a lot of our social scening on the VHF. So there was like different nights of things. So it was like happy hour nights, and then every Wednesday was trivia nights hosted by Rich on Sayonara 2.
He's probably not watching, but I miss Rich.
Yeah.
And
So
I miss Charlie.
So like we had this like just whole like social scene, and then we did develop a night watch system, and while that was like, it was unfortunate that we had to do that, but it also instilled community in the little anchorage too. So like that was probably more important, that community feeling that we got from that, than
no, I agree.
Than like what it was trying to do.
I agree. I really enjoyed the community aspect of the lockdown. Absolutely. Those people will always be with us in our hearts. But the fact that we needed to set up a night watch system to feel safe at night it's very stressful to feel that you are in a place where you're not sure that you're safe. It took me a long time to process it. Okay, before we move on, thanks Larry and Winpack for the super chats. That's super nice of you.
Yeah,
Yay!
super cool. Thank you.
Cheers to you.
We did set up this night watch system, and we did that because we had heard after Irma, it got really bad in Sandy Ground, which is where we were kind of anchored by.
Yeah.
And there were dinghies out doing like kind of suspect things at night. So we set up this night watch, and the first night there was a dinghy out at like 4 a.m. acting super suspect. And we just pounded them with lights, and apparently we didn't have a single problem after that. No. And I think it kind of got out that like the guys in the lagoon are watching you. So don't.
But we did see a lot of really fun things, like people trying to escape the rules to move their boats across the border. We're like,
in the middle of the night, yeah.
We see you.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. It was a very, very special time. But it was very hard, I have to say. I have earlier in life, I think 5 or 6 years ago, I had to get through a really tough depression, and thanks God I get really good therapy here in Sweden, and I get out of it. But it's usually something that you kind of live with and that can come back now and then. And the second month of the lockdown, when there was no end in sight and we were still there at the same place in this difficult situation, and we felt pressured by the authorities, and we were extremely limited in what we could do. We were essentially like prisoners on our own boat in this part of the lagoon. I get back to dark places. I get back to depression. There was a time when I was like, I need to go see my therapist, because I'm not feeling good at all.
Mm-hmm.
I am going crazy. And I had the first part of the lockdown, I was in fighting mode, where I was on top of cooking, exercising, like really trying to make things work for us. And I was editing a lot. And the second part of the lockdown, I was feeling really bad. I had a lot of anxiety, and I went to really, really dark places. And I think that's when we made the decision to go home to Sweden, because life on board for me at this point was not sustainable anymore. Now, I've seen someone asking if we're not going to give up sailing. I hope no, we're not. Absolutely not. It's funny because we were just talking about this a few days ago, about how difficult the last 3 months have been. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about the future. We're talking about where we go next.
Oh, it's pretty funny because we're talking to some of our friends. I was chatting with them today in Australia. They got stuck in Australia, and their boat's been in Martinique since February. not touched because they got stuck. Anyways, and I think we've also the same thing. It's like, it's really good to cruise, but it's also really good to have like a home base, because like and there's a lot of people that do it 24 like all year long, and that's great. And they live on the boat for 10 years. But that's not I wouldn't say it's the majority of people. And like to have a place to go and get your own air and get your own space and reconnect with like land is good. So I think we've all kind of decided like that might be an element to this.
To well-being and also longevity in cruising. Thanks, Mary, for the super chat. You really did not have to. Mary is Ryan's mom.
She's our biggest supporter.
She's our biggest fan.
I think my dad's a big supporter too. He's just quiet.
Supper on mom and dad. Oh yeah, that's a good idea actually. We could go get. We are in this super cute neighborhood in Stockholm. Maybe I'll, once I've edited everything that I have of our sailing season, I'll make a little video about how it is here in Sweden. But we're in this lovely neighborhood. We even have, oh my God, we need to talk about the pool. Okay, nobody in an apartment building ever has a pool in their courtyard.
In Sweden.
Especially not in Sweden.
In the US, it's common.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But not in Sweden.
No, like there is a pool in right across our terrace, and it's kind of extremely decadent. It really does not happen that you have pools in the apartment building, but we have that. Yeah. So we live in this lovely little neighborhood. There are lots of really nice little restaurants, and those restaurants are empty.
Yeah, because they're pretty empty.
Somebody asked how the COVID situation is in Sweden, and I mentioned that it's really easy to social distance and keep distance. And people really respect that. People don't take the train, they don't take the metro, they take their bikes, they don't gather. People spread, and so people don't really go to restaurants. Normally, this time of year, the restaurants in Stockholm would be packed. The terraces of restaurants would be absolutely jammed. But and we're by this very popular little corner of restaurants, and it's very like there's a lot of space between people, yeah. So you can go get your food. There are some very specific rules for how you're supposed to get your food and pay. And there are like those glass, how do you call them?
Like a little divider, like
yes.
A plexiglass shield.
As you probably have them at your supermarket or anywhere. So it's there as well here. But yeah, people still go out, people still go to the supermarket and they go to IKEA. But there are all these rules that are put in place and people are really respectful of the rules, which makes social distancing very, very easy.
It works. I mean, not to get political with it or anything, because I don't want to go down that road. But like, I think that you and I are probably some of the few people on the planet that have experienced like both extremes of this,
yes.
Which is being locked down 24/7 on a boat in a country that, while it's developed, it's got limited resources, and then coming back here to the place like the other extreme where nothing is locked. Well, a lot less is locked down.
Yes.
It's very open compared to the rest of the world, and but yet it works in Sweden. I don't think what Sweden's doing would work other places, but it's just been such a wild like extreme from one thing to the other. So
we had a friend who came to pick us up at the airport. I don't think he's watching, but if you are, Chris, thank you so much. We met Chris through YouTube. He has another YouTube channel here in Sweden called Sailing Yacht Aurora, and he came to pick us up. The airport was absolutely empty. It was creepy empty. And then we get back to our old neighborhood because we needed to pick up a few furniture from and items from our old apartment. And there is a square, and the square was full of people and life and children playing. And
you wouldn't even know there was something going on.
And I started crying. It was just, and my brain started to tingle, and I think that I don't know. It just made me happy to see that.
Yeah, your like attitude when we got the boat to Curaçao.
Not my attitude, my mood.
Your mood, well,
yes.
Mood and your attitude
yes.
towards things totally changed. It totally changed. Yeah. So but on that note, then we arrived here. Yes, we don't own this place. We're renting it, and no, it came furnished-ish.
Yeah, but it is furnished.
The plants. No, but someone's asking about the plants.
Oh yeah, I bought them.
The plants we bought.
They're from IKEA.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We went to IKEA.
Because we're here for long enough that it makes sense for us to feel at home.
Cozy.
And make it cozy. This apartment is really cozy, but we hung, those are our posters, and this is not our shelf, but we put some of our own little touch on things.
It was furnished here, but very bare.
Yes.
So most of the stuff we see is ours. There's been a few questions about the boat, and I'm gonna answer one of them, but if you haven't heard, we're actually doing we're gonna start a series of Ryan Tech Talks live, and the first one's gonna be tomorrow, and it's gonna be on
choosing a cruising boat.
Choosing a cruising boat. So a lot of the questions you're asking, hopefully you can tune in tomorrow. If you can't, then you can rewatch it because we'll post it. But the one question that Kim asked here was, with what we know now, would we spend the extras to get an Oceanus 45 or 640? I think after COVID, we're just like
60 foot.
Buy the biggest boat you can afford, because you never know when you'll need that space. So that's kind of the joke. But I actually have some actual thoughts on that, more detailed thoughts on that for tomorrow.
That's funny. Yes,
because you never know when the next pandemic will strike.
Our friend Rich, who was with us during COVID-19, he was my buddy. Man, Rich was my mental savior during that lockdown. Rich told us that they thought their Naughty-Tech 47 was way too big for him and his wife Kim.
When they bought it, yeah.
When they bought it, and during the lockdown, they were like, oh, "Thanks God, we have 47 catamaran."
Yeah, that was a nice boat to have.
So yeah. If I know how to make poutine, I don't, because I am not from Quebec. Poutine is a Quebec
I don't even know what it is.
Do you not know poutine?
No.
Poutine is so good. I don't really eat cheese though, so I have my poutine cheeseless. But no, but I do enjoy a good poutine. Oh, thanks Heidi and Franny.
Okay, guys, it's question. We got an hour of us talking, so just fire away some questions.
I'll look at them. Will insurance cover your boat on the hard? Yeah, that's a good one. We had to pay more for insurance.
When this whole thing happened, I went on a massive insurance investigation, as I do with researching anything. I contacted probably 70% of the insurance companies on the planet, and pretty much we could get coverage based on, we have Pontaneous, but it's the Nordic Pontaneous insurance. They would cover us, but we had to pay a supplement on top of our normal premium, which was a bit expensive. It was about
$1,500 extra.
I think it was a little less than that. It was $1,200 or something. And it raised our deductible too if there's a named storm. So we paid that, even though I'm because a lot of insurance companies will cover you if you're below 12 degrees north, and we're at about 11.8. But Pontaneous wants you below 10, which is south of Venezuela, and we weren't gonna go there. So
you did not want to go to Venezuela?
No, we're almost in Venezuela and Curaçao, but
we're not far from Venezuela.
No, 30 miles. The boat. So yeah, so we did pay a bit. It is not covered. It would be nice to have a sunshade, but since we don't know how long we'll be, if we're going to be a year, I'm going to have one made, hopefully.
Yes. Well, hopefully we can go back to the boat in October, November, refreshed, excited, ready for new adventures. And yeah, I was wondering how long it would take me to miss the boat. I'm still not missing the boat yet. But I'm excited.
It's only been 2 weeks, really. I think that we forget that.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, we've had a lot going on here, so.
I feel like I have only slept for the last 2 weeks.
I've taken hour naps every day.
You have?
Yeah.
I have been sleepy every day since we arrived. Oh, and the funny thing too is that So yesterday or this weekend is midsummer weekend in Stockholm. It's the summer solstice. So we're going through the longest days of the year. So when it's 10 p.m. at night, it's still light as if it was 6 or 7, which really
it's screwing us up.
And we're used to the very southern latitudes, where the sun sets every day around 6, 7.
Yeah.
And so by 9 we're sleeping, and here we're like, nice.
Yeah, by like 9:30 we're like, oh, it's we gotta go to bed, and here it's like 10:30 and we're like, oh, we haven't even had dinner.
Yes.
So it's a bit adjustment period.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's answer questions about where we will go if we will be visiting the Dominican Republic.
Depends on how the winds are the week that we try to get the boat north, if that's where we go.
And
so
also,
if the winds push us there, that's where we're going.
And also it depends on the situation in Dominican Republic, if the borders are open, if we're required to quarantine. So all of those things also matter in our future plans. Okay, here's another good question. If we go to the Pacific, where would we go?
I think we would do, because I don't think we would do like a 5-year stint in the Pacific. I think it'd be a quick one. So I think we just do the traditional milk, like coconut milk run, going through, stopping in the Galapagos and the Marquesas and French Polynesia.
Terrible places, really.
Yeah.
We were talking about New Zealand.
And in New Zealand. Yeah.
Yes. The risk with New Zealand is that if we go there, we may never leave. That's
always been my worry.
Yes.
I think I will love New Zealand.
Yes. New Zealand looks really amazing.
Yeah.
But that's what we're talking about. I think that we've been talking about the Pacific a lot. Our only worry with the Pacific is the internet situation. Videos, but I need to upload them. Now I know that a lot of other people making videos on YouTube about their sailing adventures have been to the Pacific and have managed to find a way to upload their videos. So I'm sure that there is a way, but it is something that I have on my mind.
Yeah, the internet thing is an issue because of work too.
Yes.
So it depends where things are with some of our work and some other projects that we've got going on. So maybe if Mr. Elon Musk can get his satellite internet service up, like they're ambitioning to by early next year, it would work. But we'll see. There's two. Can I answer both these?
Yeah, go ahead.
Any chance of timing your trip to the Chesapeake with the Annapolis Boat Show? That's exactly what we were going to do this year.
Yes, we wanted to be in the Annapolis Boat Show this year.
But I don't know if they'll even have the boat show this year. So
hopefully.
Yeah. So we'll see. So that's yes. Answer that. The other question is, have you thought about going? Sophie doesn't know about this.
About what?
This question I'm going to answer. Have you thought about going south, the Falklands and Antarctica? So the other night, I was actually, when we were thinking about Pacific planning, I started looking at the world cruising routes, and I got an idea.
You did not tell me about that.
Because I don't know if it's going to work with Polar Seal.
With that version of Polar Seal.
Yeah, with that version of Polar Seal. But doing the Pacific run, going to New Zealand, and then from New Zealand going east to southern South America to Patagonia, then through the Drake Passage.
Wow.
And then from Chile, you could depart and go down to the Antarctic Peninsula and do that. And then you come up through the Falklands and you can go back up the Atlantic.
No, I'm open to that idea.
I think we would break Polar Seal if we did it. I think Polar Seal could do it, but yes. I think it would be pretty. I think it would be a.
I think that we don't have the budget to do that.
No, I think it would be a tough one on Polar Seal.
Because we would need. I don't think I would want to do it with Polar Seal or Poor Girl. And then imagine how much we would spend on heating.
Yeah, our heater would be running all the time. Anyways, it is an idea. Fiberglass boats do go there, but
I am open to that idea, Ryan.
Yeah, I just thought about it.
All right, so this is how it works, guys. Like, we will come up with a crazy idea and look at each other and be like, yeah, that would be cool.
Then we get to a different idea. Then we come back to an idea. Then we go back.
Yeah. So welcome to a slice of our lives.
So will we consider exploring most of the Caribbean? So we've had this talk with a lot of other friends too, and you never know what life's going to throw at you. I think we all know that from what's happened this year.
By now.
So we are like mantra, because you can't see it all. That's like the thing. So the Caribbean you could spend a lifetime in. The Mediterranean you could spend a lifetime in. You can't see it all. So we usually say, if there's something we want to see, but it's just not working in the timeline, we say on lap 2 or lap 3.
Yes, lap two is a popular saying.
Lap 2 is like put it in the bin for next time. So we would really like to see more of the Caribbean. There was a bunch of places that we really wanted to see but didn't, and it might just be on lap 2 if and when we ever do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that there will be a lap 2. I think that there should be a boat number 2.
Maybe.
That would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everything is fun. In cruising, not everything is fun, but you can make a lot of fun things. Another boat would be really fun.
You're supposed to stock up on coffee.
Ruiz coffee. Yeah, I need to remember that.
I don't drink coffee, so that's just a Sophie thing.
I love coffee. All right.
Wait. So
sorry.
I think it's a good question for you.
Oh.
Yeah. This one.
Hey guys, can you tell us about why you decided to share your adventures on YouTube? Is it something that is trained to maintain regular posts? It's a good question. I don't really know why, because it's interesting. It's really fun. I started because I thought that it was really fun. You know, I really wanted to document the process that we went through, because I wanted to remember in the future. And then this little awesome community started to form around the channel, and I was like, oh yeah, that's great. I should continue that. And yes, it is sometimes difficult to publish a video every week. I'm not always very good at that. I'm not always very good at updating Instagram or updating, like, you know, social platforms. But I try to not put too much pressure on myself with that, because, you know, everything that we do and that we publish comes from the heart. And sometimes my heart feels like it needs a little break. Like for the last 3 weeks, I've really been trying to edit and, you know, put my thought together to tell the story of what we've been through in a way that doesn't make it sound like I'm really depressed about what happened, or, well, you understand what I mean. So sometimes it takes more time. So I try to not put too much pressure on myself with that, because it's supposed to be a fun thing that, you know, we share. So yeah.
I hate the camera, as some of you know. I don't always hate it, but like sometimes Sophie pulls it out and I just don't want it in my face. But other time, but yeah, so that's true. And sometimes I think it comes out at the wrong time. But I will say that Sophie does really, as a lot of you probably know, she does such good work with like the final product. And I wish that I could be a little bit more like open to the whole camera thing, but it's like I love doing these live things. That's why we're going to start doing the technical videos in that format and see if it goes a little smoother than like you and I trying to film the technical videos.
Ryan just revealed the fact that sometimes filming a tech video is a little painful.
Sometimes if you got to see the behind the scenes, it's well, you'd probably be laughing, but we don't. So, but that said, like one thing I've enjoyed, like it was really, we talked about this in our last live. So if you're interested, like we talked about it for a while, you can watch that. But in our Atlantic crossing, we really showed everything, which
yes.
was me being stressed and me being an ass sometimes, and you not always understanding what needed to be done, and like us being tired, and we got a lot of really hard comments from that. But in the end, I'm really glad that we showed that, because we got a lot of emails from people that are thinking of doing this. And it was like a major reality check for people, because I think most people know that it's not the 30-minute YouTube video where people are just like laying on the deck and like then they catch a fish and they eat some food and they arrive. It's not that. There's like a lot more to it. And some days are really good and some days are really bad. And at the end, like I've actually appreciated those emails and comments from people that have like been appreciative of that. And I want to keep doing more of that. Like,
so do you now appreciate the camera?
No, I hate the camera, but like, I like the final product. So it's like, I hate the process. That's what I'm trying to say.
At least you're real about it.
I'm real about it. Yeah. I love these lives. These are great. Because,
those are amazing.
Because I don't have you telling me that I need to say it like this way or do it again, or like you have no control.
But like those lives, they're a little more, you know, it's not that they don't stay the same way that a video stays.
Yeah.
It's more like we're here, we hang out. It's like having a beer with our friends and talking about that. My beer is empty and I'm going to go get another one.
But I also, you can get a beer.
Do you want anything?
No, just some water would be good.
Okay.
I also enjoy like the people that we meet from these videos because you guys are awesome. We meet so many people.
Hi, Jules and Tenny.
We meet so many people in anchorages and just like out and about, and like that part of it like is really worth, I think, all the effort and the trouble that we have. Which
is a great moment to acknowledge our amazing patrons. Like you guys are really amazing. And oh, sorry, yeah, you wanted more water, but I'm going to continue what I was saying because for the last 2 months, I mentioned that, but it's been a little difficult to make videos and to talk about what we were going through in a way that I felt I was comfortable with. And oh my God, our patrons showed up in a way that, you know, I never expected. A lot of our patrons are strangers. And they showed up in a way that like warmed my heart, and at a time where I really needed it. And I also know that COVID-19 has put a big financial stress on every one of us. Right. I don't think that anyone get out of it unimpacted. But our patrons sticked with us, and wow, that was crazy. I sometimes lack the word to express how grateful I am, but really, guys, thank you. You are not forgotten, and although we've been a little bit quiet lately, but you've really meant a lot to us between April and June.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you always mean a lot to us, but in this particular time, it was really fantastic.
So, yep, I agree with that. 100%. Sorry, I was looking at questions. My mom has apparently said that there would be no Drake Passage sailing, and some people caught that she had put her. Thanks, Mom. Okay. Have I taken my PADI? Actually, I'm studying for my diving certificate because I would like to have that if we go to the Pacific, because the anchorages are quite deep. So if we foul up an anchor, I could go down and deal with that. What else?
I completely missed that in the comment section in the chat, people catching on your mom making comments about Drake Passage.
Well, it's funny because we were just finishing the Atlantic crossing, and they were getting on not a big cruise ship, but like a smaller cruise ship from like the Patagonia area to go down to Antarctica, and they went through the Drake Passage. I think it was quite a rough trip for them.
They had it was okay, your parents are not very young. They're in their 70s.
Yeah, but they're young at heart.
They are adventurous people.
Yeah, they travel all the time.
They're into it, and their trip to Antarctica, that was something. Someone suggested that we adopt a penguin. Oh my God. Do you guys know how desperate I am for a pet?
Jeez.
I told Ryan, next year, it's either the Pacific or the dog.
Yeah, but I'm okay with that. Here's a question for you, honey. Here.
Oh, do you have advice on how to start making videos? Yes, I do, actually. Just start. Because a lot of people, they buy cameras and they think a lot about what kind of equipment they need to make videos.
That's what I do.
And then they buy the equipment and they don't really know how to use it. So they start, but they're not really satisfied with what they get. So my advice is just take your phone and start filming, start shooting. And then you can start editing those little snippets that you have with your phone, publish it, look at it, and then be like, wait, my sound maybe is not really good, so I can have a microphone that I can attach to my phone. And then maybe, when you start feeling that you're limited with your phone, you can move on to a camera, and you build like this. So just start. If you want to start, just take your camera and talk to it. And it's going to be awkward at first. I think that the first time that I filmed myself saying the same things 30 times. And when I was done editing that first video, I think that the first thing I said was, oh, today is the 17th of March, 2018. And by the time I was done editing this video, it was mid-April. And I had to dress the same way that I was dressed in that video to say, well,
right.
Today is the 17th of April. And blah, blah, blah. You can watch it. It's episode 1 if you go back to the very, very old videos. The quality of our production has improved a lot since then. But yeah, just start. Just start. And also send me an email and I'll subscribe to your channel.
First subscriber. We've had a lot of people asking if we were going to meet Ron Sailing because they are heading up this way where we are.
I think we should.
Yeah, we do talk to them on Instagram sometimes.
Yeah.
For little things.
There is no reason why we shouldn't meet.
No, I think we should too. Yeah, because I think we're very similar in a lot of ways.
Oh, we get a super chat. Who sent us a super? Hi, Lindsay. Thanks for the Atlantic crossing. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you.
Let's.
Oh, did I get a ship's cat? How do you feel about kitties?
I hate cats. I had this bad.
You don't
experience.
hate cats.
I don't really like them. I had this bad experience with a couple cats.
Think about Mabel.
Yeah, but Mabel didn't even like the cats. Just don't like me. Dogs like me, but cats no.
That's not true.
It's true. Let's see here. Ask the questions away. Let's see. Well, you can look.
Totally. Wait. But like what kind of watch are you wearing? I'm wearing a watch that doesn't have battery in it anymore, so
it's just a mirror.
It's a Garmin Phoenix 5S or something, I believe. I get a lot of questions about my watch. I bought it when I was doing triathlon, and I was really into triathlon and endurance sports, and it was really good for that. I don't really do a lot of triathlon anymore.
No.
I am probably in the worst shape of my life.
We're both in horrible shape.
We're in pretty bad shape.
I rode the bike at the gym for 12 minutes the other day, and my legs were burning, like on fire, burning.
Yes.
This is not good. But we're getting back into it. Let's see here.
No, I saw a lot of like really fun questions up, but then okay, so we have to move up and down the chat to see things. Okay. Ryan, your live presence is amazing. Woo!
I like the lives. It's just the scripted stuff because you don't like how I do it. This is the problem. We're going to do it behind the scenes sometime. You can see all that fun.
Oh, well. Oh, grog time.
But Sophie does do amazing work, so I need to listen sometimes.
Thank you.
Let's see, Patty. There's some questions.
Wait. Like there was another destination question. I love those. What about sailing from the Caribbean to South Africa and then into the Pacific? That's the hard route.
I think it's a pretty hard route because you could go. No, it's a pretty hard route because once you get down to South Africa, and going the other way, you could do that. Like all the race boats do. So you go down and then take the southern trades. But then you end up, well, I don't know. Then you're in the southern, you're like in the roaring 40s of the South Atlantic or the South Pacific in the Indian Ocean. So I don't know if that's the way we want to go. But I guess it's an option.
Oh my God. I'm probably one of the very few on this live to understand this. 2005 men var fan, vi gillar 1,5 i folksamlingar. Vi är inte barbarer. Det är gles, herregud. 10 meter är jävligt nära.
You want to translate that for all of us, honey? Including me.
Oh, it's so funny. All right. Like this. Okay. Family upgrade. Hey, guys. 2 to 5 meters. It's a comment about
the distance,
about how people like to distance themselves in Sweden. Like, but it's 10 meters is really close. Oh, that's really funny. I love Sweden. Oh, hi from Nigeria. Hello.
Darren asks, did I upgrade our alternator and serpentine belt? I did, yes. And we have a video, and we're going to do a tech live.
Oh, are we going to do a tech live about the alternator?
Well, it's going to be in the electrics video.
Okay.
It's going to be the whole thing.
All right.
The whole system. But we have a video coming on that too. So I did, great. Yes, it's worked really well. I wish I would have done it earlier, and I'll talk more about it.
The what? The alternator?
Yeah.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah. I just didn't realize we needed it.
And by the way, guys, if there are any like tech subjects that you want Ryan to talk about, drop us an email or a Facebook or an Instagram. And yeah, that can give you some good ideas, and also take the temperature of what it is that people wanna talk about.
That's right. Some people want us to get an otter.
I have this
3 people.
I have this impression that this summer is going to be a very active boating summer for a lot of people, because people don't really travel anymore, so they get out at sea where they live.
Close. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that a lot of people will be doing a lot of boat projects this summer. That's my impression.
Could be. Yeah.
Anyways, I'm seeing Sam in the chat, and I'm wondering if Sydney is around and if they have arrived in the Chesapeake. I haven't seen an update. So yep. Here, public transit Instagram is eerie quiet. Nobody talks on the train. Yes, and that's even when it's packed.
That's true. Nobody says anything. They don't even look at you.
But I love Stockholm for that. Public transportation in Sweden is so good. It is so good. And I love the fact that, public transportation is still functioning, but people really take COVID-19 seriously, and they're not taking the train. But when you need the train, when you have no choice but to take the train, the option is there, and it's safe because everybody's away from the train. So I really, really like that.
They say that the gym is like the worst place to go, and I go every day, and I have the entire gym to myself because nobody's going.
Yeah, but I have opinions about that.
I know, but I don't care. It's awesome.
I think that you're piggybacking on everybody else.
I am, but they need to make
gym.
money. They need clients, so I go. Nobody's there. It's totally safe.
But
I'm like one of the first people in the morning, so all the stuff has nothing on it. It's all been cleaned.
Do you clean after you?
Yeah, I do.
That's good.
I do.
Okay.
So.
Still. Sydney yelling at me, stuck in Canaveral with Dieselbug. No! Oh, Dieselbug sucks. Oh. Okay. A lot of people are down on Benetos. If you had to do it over, would you still get one? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Now, our Beneteau was our first boat, and for our first boat, she is a great boat.
Mm.
She's great. She's easy.
I agree with that.
She's easy to maintain. You will find the parts everywhere. The Beneteau has actually really good customer service.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It's they're very easy. It's when you want to start to customize them that it gets a little bit tricky. But when it's your first boat and your first steps into sailing, you don't really need to do that. You don't really do that. I think that we pushed our Beneteau a little bit to the extreme.
No, I think we could push her further, but there's trade-offs, which is what we'll talk about tomorrow. There's trade-offs with everything, but the nice things with Beneteau is it makes boats affordable. So, like, we definitely buy one again. That's not. Although I think I would buy older Beneteaus and not newer ones, but that's just a personal preference. Sophie probably disagrees with me.
I like our boat. She's so good.
Here's a good tech question. I like it. Who goes up the mast?
You do.
We actually both do.
Yeah.
There was a time where you really liked going up the mast.
Yes.
So we both do. In the Atlantic, when that happened, I went up, but that's because I knew exactly what we need. So if it's stuff that you want to go up and do that neither of us have done or whatever, like you'll go up sometimes.
I'll go up.
But usually, if it's something like a little technical that I know kind of what we need to do, where it may be a little more difficult, then I'll go up. but we're about the same. Like way about the same. So it's
we're both comfortable going up there. So that's pretty good. You did that in the middle of the Atlantic one day.
Yeah, that was. I didn't really enjoy that so much, but the rest of the time, I actually think it's good if you're getting into this and new that both people get comfortable going up the mast.
Yeah. I think that generally it's good when you're two people on board, when you're shorthanded for like long-term shorthanded.
Yeah.
That you're able to do the same things.
Yeah, or the majority of it at least. At least know how.
And it's like be able to touch on a bit of everything.
Yeah, yeah. So we both can do and yeah.
All right, here is a very sad topic. If we heard about Patrick Childress, oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, it's a bit sad. Yeah.
No, it's not a bit sad. It's tragic. And so. Because Patrick was so active on YouTube, and there is an actual community of creators in the sailing community, and they were in touch with other sailing YouTubers we knew, and I was also in touch with Rebecca for a little bit. We donated a little bit of money to the GoFundMe, and we were at sea, like in the days before his passing, and yeah, I think that he passed when we were on our way back to Sweden, and it was just very sad. I think that this virus takes a whole new meaning when it hits one of your fellow cruisers, and especially such a big figure as Patrick. So yeah, Rebecca actually came out with a video yesterday, I think, that I was watching before the live, in which she explains everything that happens and she's very contained, which I was very impressed with. But I encourage you to go check out the video that Rebecca made. I think that her plan is to continue to make videos on the Patrick Childress channel, which I'm pretty excited to follow myself. But it's a very sad day for the sailing community when such an active member disappears.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like I've completely.
No, we'll get back into it, but it's something important to talk about. Good. So a lot of boat questions here. I'm going to save some of them for tomorrow. If you can't make it, you can watch it and rewind, and I will answer these questions. But there was a question that's not so much boat, like picking a boat, but it was with the dinghy. Dinghy number 2, dinghy boat 2. What would you, hard, soft, inflatable, blah, blah, blah. Like, we actually really like our dinghy.
I love our dinghy.
It worked really well. We got a lot of shit when we were.
A little video coming about it very soon.
Our dinghy is not fast because we have an electric, the Torpedo, like the kind of the slower one on there. So we got a lot of crap from our little lockdown community about how slow our dinghy would go. And that like people wanted to cross the border with us because we were like the sitting ducks as they were all flying past and we were just. But I would like to keep our dinghy as long as we can. But the problem that we're running into now is I would like to put a bigger electric outboard on it, which requires a much bigger battery bank, which is heavy. And I'm afraid that if we do that with our dinghy and I lift it up on the davits, the battery's going to like fall through the floor because of how it's like constructed. So I'm trying to figure that out. I got an idea during this week to construct a thing.
Oh, that's also something that you haven't told me about.
No, I know, but it doesn't really matter.
All right, guys, like so right now we're all getting an insight into Ryan's brain. Exclusive insight.
You don't want to see what's going on.
Even I don't have.
You don't want to know what's going on up there. There's so much crap you gotta filter
But
through.
that's a good question. Someone asked if we would consider flying to a destination and
question.
charter. No.
No, I would. I mean, we've talked about that too, like going to Greece and
to charter.
Yeah, we talked about that, like going to Greece and like trying catamarans and you know, because sometimes you just can't. I mean, it takes 2 years to get your boat back to that place, and then you want to go back somewhere else. So
yes, it's true.
I don't think it's an unreasonable thing.
We have talked about that, but at the moment we could not afford that.
No, that's true. We could not afford that at the moment. But yeah, I think it would work.
So there is that.
Yeah, buy a 10 horsepower Suzuki. You know, like I really did consider it in the lockdown, just buying a petrol like outboard so we go fast. But I like in my mind, yeah, up in the circus.
Oh, the brain that we don't have access to.
The circus that's going on up there. But you know, like we did this electric outboard thing, and it hit me one day that it really takes people like doing like what we're doing to take technology and adoption to things to like the next step. Do you know what I mean? So like electric is, I think, the way of the world. But it's like the technology is not quite there yet. But we're never going to know what that technology needs to do unless people like us are out like doing it.
Okay, so you're going to make the technology.
No. But people got to get the feedback.
Oh,
and if people aren't using it and people aren't adopting and people aren't showing other people what it can do, it will never catch on.
I see.
I'm not trying. Yeah, we're kind of like electric dinghy evangelists. But so I then voted against buying the 10 horsepower Suzuki and to go slow and take our time because I think it's important.
Yeah.
I know you don't really care so much either way.
No, I don't. I care when it goes really, really slow.
Sometimes it goes really slow, and that's why I want to upgrade
the entire lockdown for us to be able to go to shore to a place where we were allowed to go to shore was taking us 20 minutes, and that was a huge how do you call it? In Swedish it's called tröskel. A huge. I don't have the word. Okay. Well.
Okay. Anyway, so no, I don't want to buy a petrol outboard, but maybe we get into a place and maybe we don't have a choice. I don't know. Yes. Somebody asked about the marina in Almiromar. We love that marina. So if you want to go there, you should.
Yes.
Although I don't think it was very fun in the lockdown.
I made a video I made a video about the marina in Almiromar, and to this day, this is probably one of the accomplishment that I'm the most proud of. But when you Google Almiromar, one of the first video results is a photo of me in my night robe with a roll of toilet paper and sunglasses, and I think that's kind of cool. So I encourage you to Google Almiromar and watch that video also, because it's a good marina. We had a good time there.
Yeah, we did. I liked that place. We really had good memories there, and there's just really good people.
Yes, and the name of our rigger was
Andy.
Did
somebody ask that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Actually.
Yeah, Andy. I think he actually lives in Malaga, but he works out of there. There was a question up here. Oh, cargo ship. Tim asked, did our Atlantic crossing, did you ever find cargo ships at night would alter their course very last minute? Happened a few times to us. We saw, so to answer that question in general terms, that has happened to us a number of times, but not in the Atlantic. The weirdest thing, we talked about this in our live just after the Atlantic. The weirdest thing, we only saw 2 cargo ships our whole 17 days.
Ryan think it was weird.
This was weird. This was weird. You guys can decide if this is weird. But there was a ship, it wasn't a cargo ship, it was a ship with big cranes and stuff on it. And they were kind of coming at us like this. And then we were sailing right across their path. And the AIS kept saying like we're only like 50 meters away for the closest point, and they kept slowing down as we were going along. So they were like 12 knots and 10 knots, then 8 knots and 4 knots. Like, what are they doing? And then as we were getting close to them, they just hove to. So like in the middle of the ocean, they just turned and stopped. And we we sailed by with like, how far do you think we weren't very, like a half a mile?
Nah, we were like a mile at least.
Well, anyways.
I think we were a mile away.
So we sailed by them, and then as we went by, they went out of their hove to and then like carried on their original track. So they must have been surveying or doing something under the water, and they needed to be on that track. I thought they may have been pirates, but they weren't. They did not attack us.
Ryan actually sent an email to our shore contact saying, hey, just so you know, there is this weird boat and
its name is this, it looks like this.
I was like, it's in a video, so you can make your own opinion about it. I think that it was on day 12 of the crossing.
I was in the middle of it. Was right in the middle. Yeah.
Maybe it was not day 12, day 10 or 11. I mean, like right in the middle. So if you're interested, you can go back to the Atlantic crossing and the weird ship that we passed.
The hardest actually with the ships is that sometimes Sophie likes to call on the radio. I'm a little
radio happy.
I'm a little more conservative with the radio calling, but I think that comes from my flying days, and so it's fine. So Sophie in the middle of the night will call ships sometimes if she thinks they're getting too close, and not a lot, but like I would say like 20 to 30% of the time they don't respond to her. And then if I get on the radio, like I'll usually wake up and hear that something's going on and I'll look at it. And then if I think it's too close, I'll get on the radio and they'll respond right away. And that hasn't been very nice. And that actually happened to us in the Caribbean with a cruise ship.
Yeah, it happened to me twice the same night on the same passage.
Yeah.
First, it was a cruise ship, and then it was a super yacht.
Right.
And I'm pretty nice on the radio. I have a nice tone. I'm like, hey, I mean, we say sailing yacht, blah blah blah, sailing yacht, blah blah. This is pull a seal. Do you copy? And I get no answer, and I call twice, and I'm like, hey Ryan, like, can you get up and try to call them? And then they answer. And it's really annoying. And I don't know if it's my French accent or whatever, but it's so annoying when I don't get an answer on the radio. But I'm a pretty radio happy person. So if you ever sail past us, you can always call and I will always answer. And on that note, I see someone who said that I asked to send email and you sent an email and you didn't get an answer. Guys, I'm very ashamed to admit it, but I haven't answered an email in 2 months. That is the sad truth. I don't know why that is, but I read them. We read all the emails, and we even have like a little folder because you and I both have access to our inbox. And we have a little folder where we like, okay, Sophie needs to answer, Ryan needs to answer, blah, blah, blah. So we're trying to be organized. But in the last 2 months, it's been
a bit hard, yeah.
I've lost it. I've lost the thread on a lot of things. So I'm really sorry if I did not answer. One day, I'll go back and I'll answer. A lot of my emails, when I answer, start with, I am really sorry that it has taken me 2 months to answer this email. But yeah, I've probably seen your email, but I really don't know why I haven't answered. No, actually, I do know why, because we had extremely bad.
A lot of stuff going on. Oh, we had bad internet.
We had a lot of stuff going on. We had really bad internet, and so we would not do a lot of activities involving internet, such as email or chat. A lot of times we chat on Instagram with people.
Yeah, Instagram's a good forum.
Yes.
We always get to keep on that. I
chatted a lot with Heidi and Franny from Heidi and Franny's garage during the lockdown, and they were also like an amazing mental support. And I don't know if they know that. I think I said something, but I do not know those person, Heidi and Franny. We met through YouTube, and it was just so nice to have like somebody to chat with, and talk about normal things. It was just so nice. So we chat a lot of Instagram and on Facebook too, but like the email, we had a big drop. like the last 2 months.
Yeah.
So I'm really sorry about it.
We had a question about putting an electric engine on Polar Seal. And I would say when we first bought Polar Seal, I was really into the idea. And right now I'm not really into the idea.
Of what?
An electric motor on Polar Seal.
Oh, you have been into that idea a lot.
And I've researched the heck out of it, but
Oh, yeah.
I know so much about lithium batteries. I just know that it's not like a sustainable for how we've been sailing. It's just not the right option for us right now. But I do think it does have its place. The electric motors right now, and as the tech gets better, it's going to go in more and more, and it's definitely going to be something in the next 30 years that is going to be in place. So I like it, but for what we're doing, it's not the solution right now.
And also, maybe you guys have figured it out by now, but if I am a radio happy person, you're a very engine happy person.
I like to go use the engine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we're not doing enough speed for your taste, like, well, we'll just start the engine.
It's just stupid to be bobbing around at like 2 knots, unless you're in the middle of the ocean.
And I'm like, but it's not nice. It's nice.
No,
it's
not nice. It's not nice.
Even
but
if you're doing
but
3
when
knots,
when we're going at night, I do try to keep the engine off.
Yeah, like there is nothing worse than trying to sleep in a boat where the engine is on. I mean, you guys let me know what you think. But in our boat, sleeping with the engine on is awful. It's like sleeping in a tractor, like in a tractor.
What's a tractor motor?
What?
It's a tractor motor.
Yeah, no, it's really bad. All right.
Okay.
I'm sure that we've got some questions, but I have not. Sophie, you woke up the guy on watch, then Ryan got to talk to him. Yeah, you know what? That has happened to us once. Do you remember when we were crossing between Malta and Spain? God. Okay, so we had crew with us, 7 days passage, and our crew was really new to sailing. I think that she had a lot less experience than what she told us. And we told her, okay, if there is a ship that comes close, you look on the AIS, you check the AIS, what's the closest point of approach, what's the time to the closest point of approach. So you figure out if we're on a collision course, if we're not, the distance that we're going to pass each other. And if you have any doubt, you call us. And if the boat is going to pass, if you're less than 30 minutes, the boat's going to pass less than a mile away from us, you wake us up. And I think, and one night he woke Ryan up, and Ryan goes up the ladder of the companionway, and the cargo ship is right there. It's right behind. It's like literally right there. So Ryan jumps on the radio and he's like, "This is Polar Seal." And then somebody picked us and was like, "This is cargo, blah, blah, blah. I see you." And then immediately, whoop,
I think what happens is both of the skippers of both boats were woken up at the same time and did the same thing. So that was interesting, but it was fine.
Well, eventually she realized that we were most definitely on a collision course, and it was.
Well, they were going to run us over.
Yeah, they were about to do that, and fairly fast. So yeah, I think he got a little scared, and we as well.
Hold on.
Thanks, Manfred. Mwah. Cheers to you.
Just like, I want to answer this question, but I want to answer so let's come back to this question, but I want to answer this one first. So Starlink is Elon Musk's like satellite internet thing. I would love for that to work because it would open up a lot of options for us, both for like staying on the boat and for how we like interact with the community and how we share our adventure. And I have tons of ideas about that, but I don't know. They say that it will be operational by next year. I'm not really sure how successful they're going to be with it, because I know that there's a lot of other companies that have been doing this for 30 or 40 years, and there's reasons that the speeds are what they are. So let's see. I hope they're successful, because it would change. I mean, all the sailing channels would do what probably I'm thinking of doing, but it would really be cool. So we're trying to get on board. I'd love to do a beta test, but we'll see. So, question: could you share the best and worst moments of of your life, but I would guess of the sailing life, with both separately?
Okay, what was your?
Do you need to think of that? I might need to think.
I need to think a little bit about that, because there were so many. There were so many of them, so many moments that just stick out, where you're like, "Wow, this was amazing."
These are good questions you guys have. So it's gonna
my God! Okay, let us think a little bit. We're gonna go back.
I could probably start, and you can think of yours.
Okay.
I think the best moments. I've had a couple, like, there's been a couple moments where it's been like, yes, we did this, I did this, or we did this, and I can't believe that we did this. And those are like really self-fulfilling moments. It could be, there's been a few times, like the alternator install when I did that, because I was really worried when I did that I was going to blow up our battery bank, because if I installed that wrong, I literally could have done that. And it was kind of a complex install, and I never done it before. And when we did it and got it working, I was like, yeah, like, that's awesome. And I'd say that too. And like when we crossed the Atlantic, even though it wasn't like there was a lot of things that happened, but just that, like, I just always remember the smell of those flowers when we arrived, and how cool that was. And like, God, we did this. And you go on our website, you can see our track all the way from Malta, and you look at that and you're like, we've gone a long ways, and that's only half of our track. It doesn't include the Swedish part down to Malta. So that's kind of cool, you know. And when you get on a plane and fly back to Europe from where the boat is, and you realize how long that plane that's going, like, flying through space is in the air over water. Yeah. And you just like sailed that on your boat that you can pretty much walk faster than. That's pretty cool. So that's probably like my best moments with this. It's a lot of times when we get into the dock, I have that feeling. If it's like a 2-hour sail, or if it's like a 20-day sail. 17 days. The worst moments though are around my stress and anxiety, and that's really hard for me. So, and a lot of people have stresses and anxieties, especially with boats, because there's so much shit. And I don't like that person that I am sometimes when like those feelings come out, but they're there and they're real, and like there's things you can do to address it, but it's kind of how it is. So I just don't like, that's the thing I really don't like. And those are the really hard moments, because then you look back at them, and we can all look back at those moments and be the Monday morning quarterback, as they say. But it's just what happens in the time, and you, like, those emotions are there, and that feeling is there, and anybody else who's watching it on YouTube or we're explaining it to, they weren't there, and they didn't get all those senses, all the other things that were wrapped around that. It could have been other things that happened 2 days. But it could have been other things that happened 2 days before that are still living with you. So that's there, and it's that's something I really don't like, those moments. And there's a whole bunch of those, but yeah.
We've had so many amazing moments, but I think that my favorites are probably doing with all the amazing people that we've met. Everywhere we've met people that we would have never met in our normal life. And I cannot find one moment that sticks out, but it's this collection of very small little things that completely blow your mind. You wake up in the morning and you have your cup of coffee and you go on the foredeck and the water is crystal clear and there is a starfish, you know.
That's cool.
And you're like, wow, this is my life. This is incredible. And yet the worst moment was when the spinnaker got in the water in the middle of the Atlantic, because, it's obviously a stressful situation. There's a video about it. You were extremely anxious and panicked and upset.
I don't think I was panicked, but I was
No, you
definitely
were not
anxious.
panicked, but like you were very, very anxious and very angry and very on edge. And so I had to deal both with the situation that was stressful and the fact that you were extremely anxious. And we had an exchange of words. And it was really difficult because, you know, in this situation, you still have to deal with the problem at hand. And I had to send Ryan up the mast and in a lot of anxiety. And that was probably the worst moment when I was the most scared. But eventually I had to put my feelings aside and just be like, all right, we're going to go through this. We're going to do it. And then we can take the hard discussion, which eventually happened.
Yeah.
But we're good.
So here's a follow-on question to that. You said you shared your good time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure you did. I was looking at questions. What was the scariest moment? So we said hard, like the word, like the hard moment. What was the scariest moment?
How was that? That was when you were dangling 20 meters up in the air.
My scariest moment was not that, actually, although I did not like that. I knew I was going to be okay. When we crossed Biscay in the night,
and we jibed.
We jibed, but the boat jibed. We were sailing really deep downwind, and we were up on a big wave, and the wave
that was dodgy, guys.
Wind got behind the sail, and we had the preventer on, but the preventer did its job. But what it did in the process was it spun the boat all the way around.
Yes.
And it was pitch black. We had no moonlight.
And you know, Biscay is notorious for its very high waves, and they're steep and they're short. So the margin for error is pretty thin.
Yeah.
But
Sophie was below. Rob and I were up top, and we just
our first crew.
We couldn't figure out which way we were like going. And there was a little bit like Rob kept saying, "Oh, go this way now, this way," and then finally it was just like, "Wait, just stop!" Like,
yeah,
we have all these instruments in front of us. We just need to know which way the wind is, it took us a few minutes to sort it out. And we did, and off we went. We just didn't sail as deep downwind anymore. But I remember after that, my legs were shaking. Like it was how much fear it was, because I mean that could have turned into a really big disaster. And that was quite scary, but that's really the only. I mean, going up the mast in the middle of the Atlantic was a little bit stressful, but that was the only moment that I was really, really scared. Because like it was just taking your 9-ton boat and flipping it around in the pitch black.
Yeah.
And you knew there were big waves coming, although you couldn't see them. So it was like that was scary. But of all the hours we spent on the sea, to have one moment like that, that's okay. And
also, we've been sailing in 6-meter waves. Also made a video about it with CEC crew and really tiring conditions, 30 to 40 knots of wind sustained. And that was really harsh. But at that time, because we had a little more experience, it didn't seem that scary. We were pretty in control of the situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what made you choose your boat as the vessel to sail around the world? That is a question that we will answer tomorrow at 6 p.m. CET. You
guys are giving us all these chances to plug the... I hope it's a good one.
Yeah, I hope so too. I have no idea what you're going to talk about. I'll be in the background just trying to moderate the questions and see, what people want to ask and everything. But you're kind of on your own.
Here's a good question. Any advice for someone thinking of getting into sailing single-handed? We've never single-handed, although we've talked about me single-handed, because I would like to try it sometime.
Well, we've also talked about me single-handing.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. Well, we've talked about it, but we've never done it, so I can't comment on that specifically. But I can say, because we have done a tremendous amount of short-handed sailing, so just the two of us. And my view on that after the Atlantic is, while I'm comfortable short-handing sailing with Sophie, and I think you're comfortable with it with me, for long ocean passages, I will probably not do it again. It's either going to be single-handed because there's no other option, or it's going to be like 3+.
If you have good crew, it's very comfortable to have crew.
Yeah.
If they're not good, it's very uncomfortable.
But I think the reason I'm saying that is like when you single hand, you like the safety rules that you would normally abide by are like out the window because it's just you. So you're going to be sleeping. No one's going to be on watch. So all of that goes out the window. So you have to think a little differently. But when you're two, you go back to that, like what would be normal risk management on the boat. And just from my experience on it, if something would have happened, we would have been back to single-handed sailing. I mean, we kind of were anyways, but like something major, it's just not enough. And we have the space for crew. So why on a long trip would we do that to ourselves? That's my new thinking behind it. But I'm really glad that we did shorthand the Atlantic. It was what I always wanted to do.
Yeah, it was a big challenge, but I'm glad we did it. It's an incredible feeling, you know, when you put that one off your bucket list. It's like, wow, of course, the Atlantic on a sailboat, short-handed with my boyfriend. That's kind of crazy. And it's funny because you know, in the life that we live with the people that we see around us, you know, we only know sailors these days. That's what the friends that we've made in the last 2 years. And since we get back to Stockholm, and we share our experiences with the people we meet, people are like, you live on a boat? You've crossed the Atlantic? That's crazy. And we're like, well, I mean, it's actually, I mean, for us, it's kind of normal. But I guess that a few years back, we were those people who thought that crossing the Atlantic was crazy.
We've much harder sails than the Atlantic.
Yes.
The Atlantic was one of the easier sails. It's just long. So,
Tenny wants to know.
Yes, I saw that. Tenny, yes, tomorrow night we're going to tell you what the perfect boat is for us.
Yes, because I think that, okay, we're not going to do boat reviews. I think that the point is mostly to understand what is the type of sailing that you're aspiring to do.
Well, sorry, but I think the point of tomorrow is to help others think about the things to think about when you're trying to find the perfect boat for you.
For you, exactly.
So it's just things to think about, not you should look at this boat or that boat.
Yes.
And that's where we want to go
because
with that.
the perfect boat for us is probably not the perfect boat for you. And yeah, that's where. So we're not going to do boat reviews.
No.
Catamaran.
Are we selling and buying a new boat? Well,
I mean, eventually, if we want a new boat, we're gonna have to sell Pour le Ciel. And catamaran is kind of on the list of potential boats because of the space.
Larry, you had to grab an ice cream sandwich. You missed. I don't know. We had a pretty good discussion there, so maybe you want to rewind. But speaking of ice cream sandwich, I actually baked today, but it didn't go very well.
Okay, Tenny asked Garcia or catamaran. Oh, Tenny, that's a tough one.
No, it's not. No,
yes.
Stop. It's not. Tenny, where's Garcia or catamaran? Tenny, Garcia is making a catamaran. So
it's cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap. Yeah, something like that.
Oh, hi, Stylist. Yeah, okay. So our decision to not get a catamaran was not based on money, although we could have never afforded a catamaran.
No, initially it was, I think.
I don't think that we ever considered catamarans in the beginning. It's mostly because we knew nothing. But yeah, now that we spend a lot of our living time on a sailboat, a catamaran would be nice because it's more space. And space, when you're a sailor, that's a hot commodity.
A hot commodity.
Mm-hmm.
We never really sailed one, though, so I think we need to do that before we put all those eggs in that basket.
No, I know. I think that we should sail a catamaran one day. That would be really fun. Okay, yes, Garcia makes an aluminium catamaran.
And yes, you can add a few more dollar signs to that.
Because,
just bought a Lagoon 46. Yeah, cool. We actually really love the Lagoon 450, not the S version.
Yes.
Which is a very similar boat.
If we had the money and we could buy a catamaran, we would go for a Lagoon 450S.
Yes.
I mean, if we really had the money, we would buy a Garcia catamaran, but we really don't. And realistically, we would probably never. Although someone asked how your company is doing, Ryan.
Business is good. People are buying batteries. That's great.
Yes, minus the fact that today we get a really pissed off email from someone who, okay, we're not talking about that.
Okay,
that was
awkward.
Okay, how's Stockholm?
How is Stockholm? It's awesome. It's really nice. Weather's good. People are Swedes. Yeah. Stockholm's good.
Okay. If I've tried for Miss World, no, but I have high hopes for Ryan.
Oh yeah, she signs me up for these competitions.
Yeah. It's gonna be near to any thoughts on Firefly batteries? What are they?
No, I don't have any thoughts. We're saving that for another video.
Okay. All right. Okay, it's gonna be close to 2 hours, and I think that maybe if you guys don't have any more questions, it could be time to wrap things up.
Yeah, I think so. We try to keep it at 2 hours. So, yeah, I mean, it was really good questions tonight. Like some good in-depth, thought-provoking questions. It was awesome. So I think we'll just end it there for the night. I know a lot of people ask questions that we haven't answered, but some of those questions we're going to answer tomorrow. We're going to plug it again. It's same time tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Sophie's the scheduler.
Same time as today.
Same time tomorrow here on the channel. And we're going to, the conversation is going to be, I'm going to try to focus it to selecting the right boat for you based on what we have learned. So we're not going to talk about anchors or batteries or solar panels. We're going to talk about, well, maybe a little bit, but we're going to talk about the boat itself.
And equipment.
And equipment, but not how to how to connect the battery or if the water maker's working.
No, yeah. Exactly. And again, if you have particular topic, I see that Sam is talking about refrigeration. We're actually not that good about refrigeration is kind of a hard one. We're not very good at that.
No, we're not.
I mean, I'll be honest. We paid somebody to install our
I want to do that one.
To install our second fridge.
Yeah.
Oh yes, IPA. IPA is a good beer. Yeah.
Well, I know some of you can't make it tomorrow because it's Sunday and Sundays are filled with lots of stuff. But
if you can't make it tomorrow and you have questions about choosing a boat for your cruising that you want to get answered, you can always send us an email and we can address that question.
Yeah, send us an email. We're going to take questions from the chat tonight and put those in a question box. And yeah, so you can still answer it and you can come back to the video later and watch it if you'd like and see what you missed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see we still have in the chat a few people who are living in Stockholm at some point.
Yeah.
And I guess Stockholm is good. It's a good place to be right now. It's it's better than what we had in St. Martin a month ago. We're pretty good. It's beautiful weather and nice supermarkets and great beer. Swedes like their beer. So yeah, we really like it here. Oh, yeah, we have Swedes looking happy with your Swedish Snippa motorboat. Yeah, I mean, right now is the time to have a boat in Stockholm. The weather is just fantastic. And yeah, it's midsummer weekend, and it's very rare that it's sunny for midsummer.
Yeah, that's great.
So that's cool. Yes, Systembolaget.
So everybody, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Thanks for all the really good questions. We'll do another one of these in a couple months. But, well, other than the Tech Lives.
Yes.
But happy midsummer to everybody who's not in Sweden. And happy Father's Day to those who aren't going to be joining tomorrow. Hope you have a good Father's Day. And if you are joining tomorrow, it's maybe your Father's Day. Yeah, you can pick out a boat.
And yeah, for all the people we know who were watching, I mean, thank you to everybody. But a little special cheers to Jules and Tenny and Sam and Sydney and Heidi and Franny and
all our super chats.
And all the guys who gave us a super chat. That's That's so awesome. Thanks
Yeah.
so much, guys.
Yeah.
It's super mega appreciated.
Great. Yeah, you guys are the best community. It's great to have you around, and we appreciate the support. So
You don't know how much we enjoy doing these lives.
I love doing them.
It's like hanging out with friends. It's the best thing. It's like being at a pub with a bunch of friends and having a beer together. I think it's the ultimate social distancing COVID-19 activity.
Yeah. All right, guys.
So that's cool. Thank you so much. If we stay 10 more seconds, we go right to 2 hours. Look at that.
We're gonna kill it at 2 hours.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mwah.
See ya.
Bye, guys.